Israel are the innocent people. Why is anyone getting offended? It's a hairstyle, guys. All be supporting Israel. I was brainwashed. Women shouldn't have to face a man walking into their toilets.
We need to talk about Oli London. He was that white British guy who'd go around claiming to be Korean. A very unique individual, let's just say that. Well, I thought I was going to have a normal day actually on TikTok. When I open the app, the first thing I stumble upon is Oli London and he's doing a live stream. So I thought, oh my god, that's Oli London. I remember him. And let's see how it started.
But I'm just not obsessed. I'm over the obsession. But Jimin was my, of course, not ex like that, but ex-ultimate bias.
He was very prominent in the K-pop community. So he's just talking about that. Very, very normal.
Yes, I'm Christian. I became Christian 2 years ago, actually. I'm going to get baptized very, very soon. But yes, I'm practicing Christian, go to church all the time. Always following Jesus's example.
Completely fine becoming Christian and becoming a religious person. It's the last bit. Let me rewind it just so you hear that bit again.
Always following Jesus's example.
Now, don't get me wrong. I am not a devout Christian. I am not a super duper religious person. I don't know when Jesus went on to different media outlets to slay other people. Basically fearmonger, like the basis of every religion. Almost 1000% sure is love thy neighbour and be kind and be understanding. I thought, okay, carry on listening. Let's see what else he has to talk about.
And that's why you don't see me much on TikTok, guys. I'm trying to, you know, be a good Christian.
And also, Christians are allowed to have TikTok. Do you know how big Christian talk is?
Be faithful to God and do good in the world. So I'm not really posting so much. I'm kind of doing other things. Yes, Catholic. I am Catholic Christian.
And I'm thinking, okay, so is it just really going to be about BTS and Christianity at this point? I'll continue watching and see what else he has to say.
Can't wait to realise I'm on the wrong side of history. I will always support Israel.
You heard that right. Basically, he's replying to someone who said, can't wait to realise I'm on the wrong side of history. I don't know if that comment is referring to him, that he's on the wrong side of history. I don't know. But then the fact... No. When he said this, I was actually quite amazed.
Israel are the innocent people.
Well, last time I checked, genocide isn't a very innocent thing to do, Oliver London. And yes, I will be referring to you as your full name because it is deserved. How? When I saw and I heard this with my own 2 ears, I was baffled. Baffled. Maybe he's just saying this to get attention and get more concurrent views.
They were the ones attacked.
It's all Palestine's fault, blah, blah, blah. If you even do a little bit of Googling to find out some history, you will find Israel and Palestine have been at odds for years, and Israel have tormented Palestine for years. If you just do a little bit of research, Ollie, you would find that out. But anyway.
Israel is acting in self-defense.
In my personal opinion, self-defense, it's not genocide. It's not the unaliving of hundreds of thousands of innocent people. What is self-defense there? Is this 5-year-old child causing you so much grief that you have to defend yourself? And I can't believe that that actually came out of his mouth. You're telling me they're defending themselves against who? Babies? Families? What are you talking about? I can't.
I think my brain just committed
suicide.
Believe me if I mean they would because it's Oli London, but
I've met some of their families. I've met people that...
I hate the fact that he does that. I've met people in Israel. I've been there. This, that and the other. I didn't know you were the BBC and you were getting all the frigging coverage on Israel. I feel like personally, especially with people like him, if they're talking about something, they've only gone there so that they can say that they've been there to help. This is just to back up his argument. Have you gone to Palestine? Have you gone to Palestine? Let's hear what he has to say about that.
That have lost loved ones inside Israel. It's very, very sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
They've been through a tough time, and the world, we should all be supporting Israel. The Israeli people are good people, they have good hearts, they do not want a war.
You're telling me they don't want a war, and yet they could just stop doing that if they really wanted to, but they're not. They are continuously doing it. There is no, we don't want war here. I don't want to even hear that coming out your mouth one more time. That's not self-defense.
People are entitled to their own beliefs, but I will not change my belief. And it's, you know, I'm not just saying it, guys. I actually went to Israel.
So now he is a pro on what's going on between Israel and Palestine because he went to Israel. I actually feel like I'm losing brain cells each time I watch this.
So if you support Palestine, why don't you go to Palestine? Why don't you go to Gaza and see just how they treat people that are LGBT?
Why don't you go to Palestine and see for yourself? If you support them that much, why aren't you in Palestine? Firstly, why would anyone want to uproot themselves to go to a war-torn country where it is unsafe? Nobody's going to do that. There is no need for people like us to go and make everything about ourselves. And it really winds me up. And I feel like a lot of white people like him do this kind of thing where everything is about him. You're putting yourself in a position that you don't need to be in. So what are you doing? You're there for the attention. The fact that he brings up LGBT matters, that has nothing to do with anything. That's to do with the Palestinian government, not the Palestinian people. So you're basically saying genocide's okay because you know what they do to LGBT people? It does not matter what their government has done or what their government thinks. It's completely wrong. As a bisexual myself, I would never go there because of that. However, that is not the beliefs of every citizen in Palestine. So basically it's perfectly fine that innocent people are being unalived. No.
Just how they treat people that are Christian or Jewish. You know, if you see that with your own eyes, it will change your mind.
I don't think hate crime is going to make me think genocide is okay. No matter what their government thinks, isn't going to change my opinion on what's right or what's wrong.
But, you know, unfortunately, people will not last long if they visit there. But, yes, so, you know, I'm not just saying this. I've actually been to Israel after October 7th.
I can't. It makes me so angry. Again, reaffirms the fact he's been there, so he knows. Nobody wants to see you. You're infamous. Yeah, people know who you are. Not for anything good.
Guys, I don't want to go into politics because this is TikTok. It's meant to be a happy place, so I don't want to go into that, guys, but I just wanted to clarify my stance because of all the people saying Free Palestine.
It's not about politics, but everyone kept saying Free Palestine, and it was really offensive to me, and I could see all the flags, oh my god, so I had to talk about politics. I had to. You're basically telling me to. TikTok's not meant to be about politics, it's meant to be a positive place, and yet you're spewing so much hate constantly.
You know, I will always support Israel, and have I gone to Palestine? So you think I could go to Palestine, guys? Do you know what they do to people in Palestine?
Do you know what they do to people in Palestine? Yeah, Israel. I know what the Israeli people do to Palestinians. I'll tell you more about that. Who do you think you are? Who does he think he is? I do not understand.
If I stepped over the border, I would not be alive. That's what they do to people. They are bad people.
Yes, you heard that right. He's not generalizing about the Israeli people and saying they're all great, but he's saying Palestinian people are bad people. Do you see how hypocritical that is?
You can't visit Palestine, but what I'm saying is, if you really believe in something, you should educate yourself. Thank you so much, Phoebes, for the gift.
It's the way that he just talks about something and goes, thanks, Phoebes, for the gift. Basically, what he's trying to say is if you're on one side, you should really educate yourself on the matter if you're going to be publicly saying you're Free Palestine and stuff like that. We are all clued up. I think you're reading some different kind of news that's maybe made by Israel. It hurts my brain.
I'm just saying it's important to educate yourself. So I educated myself. I went to Israel. I met with families of hostages. I met families that lost loved ones. I met people that survived. I heard their stories. And I also met people from the Israeli Arab and Bedouin community.
What does this mean to anything? He has to keep throwing it in every time, just so you know he's a really good citizen for going to Israel, for going to see what was going on there and talking to people. Go to Palestine. Go to Palestine. Thank you. End of conversation.
But Israel does not target these people. They do not target these people.
Last time I checked, Israel are literally targeting Palestinians. I don't understand how you could possibly say they're not.
We need to see the humanity on both sides.
Israel does. Israel needs to see the humanity from the Palestinians. They are unaliving so many people, so many children. How can somebody even sleep at night knowing what they're doing to innocent people? The fact that you can come onto live spewing all this crap, it's insane. It makes me angry because there are children who watch this and they will not understand if he's telling the truth or not. They will not understand that he is wrong. Israel are literally targeting Palestinians. Otherwise they'd just be frigging throwing cherries on every country. What are you talking about?
What are you doing on my FYP?
Agreed. That was honestly the first thing I thought. Why was he the first video that I saw? During the live stream, people were commenting like, why has he got cornrows in or something or whatever. They were making fun of his hair, I think. And this is what he had to say.
Guys, so now I'm getting trolled. I'm getting trolled about everything. So now I'm getting trolled about the hair, guys. Let me give you another education about the hair.
How very passive aggressive. Let me give you another education about the hair. You know what? I'll hear you out. Let me hear what kind of education you're going to give me about these cornrows.
Braids were invented in ancient Egypt by the ancient Egyptians.
We're not talking about braids, we're talking about cornrows, okay? White people can wear French plaits. White people do not do cornrows. So firstly, you're incorrect. You do not have afro-textured hair. You should not be wearing protective hairstyles. I don't know how many times I have to say this. My hair texture is 3A when I don't style it and 3B when I do. So it's curly. They're bouncy. I don't need to do that with my hair because I still have white people hair. It's just curly white people hair. So why are you with your 1A hair? Do you need to put them in cornrows? You don't. You have white people hair. You have the straightest hair.
By the ancient Egyptians 4,000 years ago. So nobody can say this is cultural appreciation, appropriation, whatever.
Number one, that has no correlation to if something is cultural appropriation. If you want to school yourself on that, which you claim everybody else needs to be educated, so why don't you educate yourself? Appreciation is, I can appreciate when somebody's wearing cornrows and I'm like, ooh, she looks really good. Those cornrows look so good. You're not going to see me wearing them, because that is appropriating. There really is a difference. I can appreciate something, black culture and black media and all these kind of different things, and I can appreciate it. And I'm like, wow, this is great. This is amazing. Oh, he suits his do-rag. Doesn't mean I'm going to wear a do-rag. Doesn't mean I'm going to start friggin' wearing cornrows and acting like it's okay and it's perfectly normal. Because it really, really isn't. It grinds my gears. So this next part is basically him trying to justify why it's okay for him to have cornrows.
Also, many people get braids, guys. Justin Bieber, Kim Kardashian, Lizzo.
No, I have to stop it. Justin Bieber's had braids and was notoriously slammed by the internet for having braids, and it was not okay. Kim Kardashian should not have cornrows. It's all appropriation. The fact that you try and defend yourself wearing cornrows by mentioning Lizzo, a black woman, I don't understand. Does he think Lizzo's white? Does he think Lizzo is a white woman? She has Afro type hair. In turn, can wear protective hairstyles because it's protecting her hair. The fact that he's trying to use Lizzo in an argument why white people should be allowed to wear cornrows is insane.
Why is anyone getting offended? It's a hairstyle, guys. I got my hair braided because it's easier to manage, it looks cool, it looks super fly.
It really does not look super fly. Him then saying it's easier to manage. He has the whitest hair I think I've ever seen. There is no texture to that. Your hair isn't hard to manage. Curly hair is hard to manage. If I do brush my hair, I look like Hagrid. If I don't brush my hair gets matted. Not to mention afro hair. I can't even imagine how hard that is to look after. Your hair is not tough enough, not coarse enough to hold a protective hairstyle without it damaging your hair. That's also another reason why people say it. Not to mention it's appropriation.
Saying like my hair is bad, like come on. It's nice, guys. Hair is hair. Exactly, they're just braids, guys. Like anyone can do braids. You can have your hair whatever style. If you have blonde hair extensions, if you have short hair.
No, what we're not going to do is try and compare them to just extensions or having short hair, because it's completely different. And I honestly think he knows that. Deep down, I feel like he knows this.
Exactly, they're just braids, guys.
Why couldn't you have just plaited your hair? Why did it have to be cornrows? Why did it have to be appropriative? It's so much more than that, and the history is so deep. Not only were they protective hairstyles, a lot of the time during slavery, black people were doing these things and making mazes on their hair from their braids to communicate how to get out to other people. Do not compare the two ever again. Educate yourself.
It's not your hair, it's my hair. If I want to do braids, guys, if I want to do a cornrow.
If I want to do a cornrow, firstly, that's offensive. How are you calling them cornrows? Listen to what he says.
If I want to do a cornrow and look super fly, I can do that, okay?
No, not the super fly thing again. You do not look super fly. He goes back to talking about the cornrows because somebody else said something about his hair, and then he goes on to say this.
Look at the hieroglyphics. All the hieroglyphics, they have braids, they have cornrows. So am I culturally appropriating the ancient Egyptians? Do you think they'll be upset from 4,000 years ago? Guys, it's a hairstyle. Many people have different hairstyles. Many people get braids. It's a good thing to do. It's
not a good thing for white people to do. It's literally damaging. He then goes on to reply to a comment. Somebody asked, what race are you?
What race? I'm white, guys. Why would you question my race? I'm just white.
Let's think. Maybe because there was a whole period of time where you telling the internet you were Korean, even though you're a white man from England. Tell me where there's even a drop of Korea in you. So then somebody asked about the Jimin thing. How did you feel about the Jimin phase? And he says this.
The Jimin phase, yes, I really actually do regret it. It was very crazy. And guys, I have to say, I really do regret all the surgeries. Actually, I ruined myself, and I know.
You did ruin yourself the minute you started posting on the internet, in my opinion.
So I do really regret that. The surgery I regret the most was actually when I became transgender.
Oh my god, it makes me so mad when I actually hear it. Again, you're allowed to regret these kind of surgery. However, it's what he goes on to say from here.
That was the worst. I was brainwashed actually by using a lot of TikTok.
There is no brainwashing going on. Just because you're seeing media about trans people doesn't mean it's brainwashing. And you questioned your identity at one point doesn't mean you were brainwashed. That in itself is crazy. It's this next bit that really is the kicker. Listen to this.
By using a lot of TikTok, that it was normal to be trans.
It is normal to be trans. Secondly, you were not brainwashed. Nobody made you trans. You thought you were trans, and again, that's okay. People question their identity all of the time for many different reasons.
So I fell for that.
It's that bit, him saying he fell for that. You didn't fall for anything. You just questioned your gender identity, which is perfectly normal.
I really regret that. You see, I have this is really bad scars, guys, from all the surgeries. So I actually quit. No more surgery, guys. Just all about living naturally.
And then straight from from that, he then starts talking about LGBT people again.
LGBTQ, so I support anyone, if you're an adult, be whoever you want to be, whatever, but don't push it on other people. So I support, I'm very supportive.
The fact that you're stuttering that much really means you do not support us. Just being outwardly gay or outwardly bi or outwardly trans is not pushing it on anybody. Nobody's saying you have to be this. People have free will. People make decisions on their own, whether they're informed decisions or basically just because they're questioning their gender identity. That's okay. People are allowed to change their minds.
Lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, good for you, but I do not support it when people like trans activists push this or try to push it on kids.
Nobody's pushing it onto kids. Do you know how many trans people take their lives when they are children because they can't bear the fact they're not in the right body? There is no trans adults or trans activists pushing this onto children. They're just informing these children that clearly are questioning their gender identities about what it means to be trans, that it's okay and it's valid and it's completely normal to question your gender identity. When I was in high school, I questioned my gender identity. That's okay. People do question things. At the end of the day, I'm okay. The world's still spinning.
Or try to take women's spaces or sports. I do not support that.
How are you going to say they're trying to take women's spaces? Trans women are women and deserve the right to feel safe and be in these women's spaces because they are women. I can tell you now, I feel 10 times safer around a trans woman than I would around you.
Much against that, but live your life with your LGBTQI+ two-spirit.
Literally in one sentence you're saying you support us, and then in the next sentence you're taking the mick out of LGBT people. Like, what are you doing? You need to keep it consistent.
Whatever, as long as you're not pushing that on other people, just live your life. Be happy, marry who you want to marry, great, but don't be pushing on other people.
I disagree with many things he's just said there. They are women, so they're allowed to take up as much space as a cis woman. That is perfectly okay. If I can understand that a woman is a woman, you should not be commenting. As a man, you have no right to be commenting on the situation. As a woman, I don't feel unsafe with trans women. I don't feel there's a problem with trans women being in women's spaces because they are women. If you are not a woman or a trans woman, this does not involve you.
Trans people do not belong in women's toilets.
Trans women do belong in women's toilets because it's unsafe for them to go absolutely anywhere else. Unless there's a unisex bathroom, I don't understand what you're talking about. It's not safe for a trans woman to go into the man's bathroom. I don't understand how people can't grasp that concept.
Trans people do not belong performing in front of children in schools.
That's crazy. Children really understand a lot more than you're giving them credit for.
That is that, but apart from that, if you're a trans adult, good for you.
But apart from everything that I've just said, so basically everything ever, apart from that, it's perfectly fine.
As long as you're happy and not hurting anyone and also not hurting yourself, just be happy. My message is about making people happy.
Your message is about hate. You spew hate and then refer back to being Jesus Lover 365.
I have friends that are trans. I know trans people, Caitlyn Jenner, I know.
It gives me the same vibes of, well, I can't be racist. My cousin's best friend's uncle's friggin' partner's sister's black. I can't be racist. I know black people. What do you mean? Just because you know trans people doesn't make you not transphobic. And you have literally named one of the most transphobic trans people. The same way women can be misogynistic. And you just listed a transphobe. Doesn't really defend your case.
And as long as they're happy, that's great. But there are many people that are becoming trans because it's trendy.
What is trendy about being trans? Can you let me know? What is trending? The amount of hate crime towards trans people is on the rise because of people like you talking crap about the LGBT community.
And that's really harmful, especially when they're young. I speak up about that because there are so many kids that just need to live their life, go to school. They shouldn't have this pushed on them.
There's a lot of these students you're talking about who literally take their own lives. They can't go to school. The main focus for them isn't going to school. It's about staying alive day to day here on this planet when they don't want to be. Can you imagine how horrible that is? He's then going on to say that is wrong. Realistically, it should be looked on a case-to-case basis. If it's just come out of nowhere or this has been a feeling for a long time. For me, it was not a feeling for a long time kind of situation. The reason I was questioning my gender identity was because I was sexually assaulted multiple times by different people in high school. I did not understand that is actually what happened to me. I thought, oh, well, I must just be a boy. Again, this is the autism part. I must just be a boy because I didn't like it. That's not it, Hope. That's not what it is. You were just assaulted that much and you were just hurt that badly that you disassociated from yourself and thought you were a man. That's not okay, that's not cool. But this is not everybody. This is not what it is.
Women shouldn't have to face a man walking into their toilet, so I'm against men pretending to be women using women's toilets.
Jeez Louise, women shouldn't have to face a man in the toilet. If a trans woman walks into a bathroom, it is a woman walking into the bathroom. If a man walks into the women's bathroom, it is a man walking into the women's bathroom. Do you understand that concept? Just because there's been a minority men, actual men, pretending to be women to get into the bathrooms, you are not going to generalize and say all of those people are trans women. Trans women aren't doing that. They just want to poo. They just want to wee. They just want to release their bowels, okay? Let them go to the toilet.
Apart from that, live your life, be happy as long as you're an adult.
You can't live, but you can live. But don't live near me. And don't show that you're trans. And if you talk about being LGBT openly, you are shoving it down our throats and children's throats. You are turning children trans. Can you see how hypocritical it all is? Somebody asked, what do you think about your old self? And this is what he says.
What do I think of my old self? Well, actually, guys, I kind of think it's embarrassing. Like, I kind of really regret that I was going through a difficult time mentally and overcame those struggles with the identity crisis, the many identity crises. But
you did have many identity crises, and you're allowed to regret it. You're allowed to be embarrassed about yourself. A lot of people are embarrassed by their past selves.
Totally over that, completely recovered, spent a lot of time. That's why you haven't seen me, guys. I've been spending a lot of time on focusing on health, well-being, and helping people, doing Jesus's work.
That's why I haven't seen him for a while, even though you see him almost every single day, at least 3 times a day, posting on TikTok. But other than that, guys, he's been doing Jesus's work. Jesus, literally.
Following Jesus's message and basically helping make the world a better place.
But yet you're here being so hateful towards the LGBT community, being so hateful towards Palestinians, and yet you're claiming you're trying to do God's work and Jesus's work by spreading positivity. I don't think your morals actually line up with your mouth. I don't think you have a connection from brain to mouth. It seems to be malfunctioning.
Yeah, kind of been busy with that, guys. So that's where I've been.
I think somebody must have asked a question, I didn't see it, about trans people working at nurseries and in schools, and this is what you had to say.
Trans nursery workers, I do not think they have a place being in schools. No, sorry. It's not healthy for children to be exposed to this gender ideology.
Firstly, as a parent myself, I can say children are exposed to gender ideology from birth, from in the womb. Don't act like trans people are the reason. Trans people are this minority. The gender ideology children are exposed to is girls like princesses, boys like cars. Girls wear pink, boys wear blue. And obviously before that he says that trans people have no place in schools or whatever. It is healthy for children to be exposed to different types of people. It actually shown to decrease the likelihood of people having stereotypes. Being exposed to multiple types of different people from all over the world, all kind of backgrounds, makes these children less racist, less more understanding, loving people because they've seen it themselves, so they understand. People like you are the issue. Children are really understanding. Children are not born with these prejudices. So if you explain something like, this girl likes another girl, they're not going to get confused. They're going to go, okay, mum, that is literally it. So to say that trans people shouldn't be teachers, I think it's disgusting.
So, you know, if you're trans, you're an adult, you live your life, good for you, be happy, that's important. Everybody has the right to live however they want. Absolutely, 100%. But just, it shouldn't be in schools, especially not nurseries or kindergartens, because kids are so susceptible. They're going to learn that being trans is normal.
And that's like such an issue. Being trans is normal, and I really hope they do learn that. It is important that they interact with all kinds of people so that they know this world is not just full of you. It's not just full of white people. It's not just full of men who like women. That's not what it is. And so they don't feel like, I know I did. I remember people used to say, ew, you're a because I had short hair. That made me not want to come out. I was like, why were they saying that? And like it was an offensive thing. It's not. And it's not okay that that is a thing. This bit me off.
Or that it's cool or it's trendy, and they're going to start to try and change their gender, and that's when it gets difficult, when they do hormones or, you know, surgeries, guys, in some places like California, Washington State.
No trans person saying it's cool to be trans, and no trans person is saying it's trendy, you should be trans. They are just saying, hello, we exist, we are valid, we are normal as well. And the fact that he says, and then they're going to try and transition and get hormones or whatever, I don't think that's how it works. Let's just play a little game. If I was to tell you, you are trans, and being trans is trendy, you should be trans, are you suddenly going to, after hearing me say that, become a different gender? What is the answer? No. Just because you're talking about being trans doesn't mean someone's going to go, oh yeah, I need to take hormones now, I'm suddenly a boy, because they are making it out to seem like it's pretty damn trendy.
They can have surgeries at 15. It's really harmful, guys.
You know what is really harmful? When trans children don't get access to gender affirming counselling or surgeries, and they end up taking their lives instead. What would you rather have? A child take their own life, or a child that has a gender affirming surgery and, you know what, regrets it in the future? I know me, I would rather have a child that has had a surgery and then just regrets it later in life than not having a child in this world at all. Do you hear yourself? Grow up. It pisses me right off. I can't deal with this man. What do you think about Oli London and his antics on live? In conclusion, this man is clearly very unstable. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you give it a like, and I will see you in the next one.